begging me.
Crimson, is it Desert? Yeah,
Yeah.
Crimson Desert, dude. That I saw a
Which
trailer.
game was this again? Remind me.
So this one was like a 5-minute trailer. But it was basically like this dude who kind of
It's an MMO. It's a single player storyline in an MMO.
Yeah. It was it almost reminded me of like Final Fantasy type of feel.
Yeah.
Sort of.
It reminded me a little bit of like Assassin's Creed Origins. Right? Like you have this big open world and you're moving through it on your storyline, but imagine it just being populated with a bunch of other assassins moving through the world too.
Right.
That's what it kind of reminded me of.
Oh yes, I remember Crimson Adventure now.
And then
Crimson
of course
Desert.
like Assassin's Creed meets Skyrim in my assessment.
Yeah, but it looked like it would have like a lot of story behind it, a lot of acting and whatnot. So I'm interested to see, where it all goes.
Gotcha.
I saw some wall climbing and some other things like that kind of gave me like that kind of looked like Shadow of War a little bit too.
Yeah.
But it definitely looks like it's gonna be a very detailed game.
Did you watch
I'm
it?
interested.
Did you watch it?
So I remember now.
You remember
it's,
now?
It's
Okay.
the one from the developers of Black Desert.
Black Desert.
So
Yeah.
I've played Black Desert on a couple occasions, and I'm not a fan of that MMO style at all. But the game, it looks gorgeous, and the developers are pretty dedicated to revamping. Like they always come, they're pretty dedicated. A lot of resources because the game is very profitable internationally. So it's probably going to be a good game. But if they add conventions like there's too much automation that I kind of don't like. In Black Desert Online, like there's so many things like you just point to where you go and then your guy just runs, so you can just go
so
do
it's not you
something.
actually controlling the
So it's
character.
kind of like the mobile. You know how those mobile MMOs? I get why they're they have so much like you click here and your guy does it, but in that game you just click where you go, you mount up, he runs wherever you want, and then you fish automatically, you do trade skills automatically. So if it has those kind of MMO features,
You're not really with it.
I'm not really with it, but the game does look incredible.
Right.
Black Desert Online and this game, the trailer did look really good. So we'll see how it comes out, but I'm kind of on the fence on this.
Yeah,
one.
my mouth was pretty dropped when I saw how it looked
How good
visually.
it looked,
I was
yeah.
like, man, this is really incredible. I mean, and another thing that this game did for me as I watched it, regardless of if it's good or not, is just some of these studios, they have no excuse, man.
Yeah.
Like if you have these kind of like obscure kind of like developers, it's like look at the detail, look at the work. Is this work or how are they doing this? I'm like, what are they doing? Is this just hard work? Like my guess is it just must be hard work. They're just putting in all the hours, all the time to be as detailed and as massive and as vast as they can be. Or is there some trick here? Is there some trickery? Like my mind thinks there's some trickery going on here. Like how are they doing this? Because I'm honestly like it's shocking.
Why doesn't every game look like
Yeah,
this?
why can't every game look like this? Is this just
Yeah.
they're working harder than everyone else? That doesn't make sense. Or is there some trick going on here? Like I'm just really blown away by how good it looks. I wish every game looked this good. And to be honest, the combat looked really fun and satisfying. It looked really cool. And like really there's some cool finishers, what he was doing. Like it looked pretty darn awesome. And so I'm actually kind of excited. I know I wasn't a huge big fan of the Black Desert formula either.
I never played
But
Black Desert.
this seemed like a different direction. Like this is supposed to be a single player game, technically. So I'm curious now. Like it piqued my interest to think about that in a MMO world. So I'm thinking like Fallout, like Assassin's Creed, these really great single player games
Right.
that are open. But we always say, imagine if your friend could play Fallout 3 with you, right? I
Yeah,
feel
like
like it's
hop
kind
in
of
and
like
join the
that.
world. That'd be
where
dope.
like, yeah, you're playing your single player mission, but it's open to everybody. Like that's a great idea. Like, so I have some hopes for this game. I'm hoping it's, in my opinion, better than Black Desert, but man, I loved how it looked.
Yeah, it did look fantastic for sure.
Yeah. How'd you like how ARK 2 looked?
Pretty incredible. And I think that was in-game footage too.
Yeah.
I mean, that was
don't know.
shocking.
I'm not sure.
Because they showed some scenes where they panned the camera behind him like third person view and he was walking like it was in-game.
Okay.
So I'm assuming that was in-game. But I gotta ask Mark, dude, like I had so many questions. I was like, wait a minute, isn't ARK
It's just
like
an
a
MMO.
like an open world game? Or this looks like a single player game to me. What is this?
Yeah, so ARK is more of like a survival, I guess, role playing. When they call it an MMO, I hate when people just call everything MMO
Just because it's a bunch of people playing.
yeah,
together?
just because we play online together, it's not an MMO. So to me, Ark is not an MMO. But there's servers where you join. You can join, 50 players. So it does have a lot of online component to it. The story in the current Ark is non-existent.
That's what I mean.
There's no story.
Like there is no story. That's what I mean by I guess MMO. It's just the notion that it's just all about multiplayer. Like I feel Ark is largely based on
advertise
multiplayer.
it as an MMO, but to me, it's not.
No, I agree with your definition.
Because
I'm
of the
just
way it
saying,
plays,
yeah, it's hard to describe any other word. It's so heavily about other players in the world with you that I'm like, wait a minute, what is this?
Yeah.
This doesn't seem like anything like.
Yeah, so I mean, first we have like Vin Diesel, right?
Dude.
And it looks like Vin Diesel.
100%.
Like there's no
No
like
denying.
second
Yeah.
guessing it. You know what I mean? That's Vin Diesel right there. Deep voice, all that. And you got the little the family or whatever, and then all of a sudden they're getting attacked.
Yep.
And then this Tyrannosaurus Rex is like running around eating.
Dude, I thought it was
apples.
Turok.
Yeah.
I was like, is this
You
a
thought it was
Turok
Turok?
remake?
Oh,
Is this a
Turok.
remake of Turok?
Yeah,
Because it was
that'd
kind
be
of feeling
interesting.
that way, right? Because
Yeah.
it's primitive, but then you have the dinosaurs.
But
Then Ark came up, and I was like, what?
yeah, but I can't even. This doesn't fit the normal Ark build,
No,
it doesn't.
right? Because this looks like it's a game with a
single-player
main
game,
character
yeah.
and a storyline. Like Ark ain't that. Like you get thrown into Ark and you like, what the hell do
Yeah,
I do
you're just
next?
a dude,
Exactly.
you
You know
want
what I
to
mean?
survive.
Like, how do I
out.
figure this
Yeah.
out? Like you need somebody else who's played it
Mm-hmm.
to help you to do
Right.
stuff. But this looks like there's an actual, something to it. So
Yeah.
I'm interested to see more about it. They ain't getting me to pre-order it right now just because of what Ark 1 was, or is. It's still going. There's still
Still a
people
good
that play
game,
it.
yeah.
But like I need something that's gonna give me something a tad bit more driven. Like I love open world games, but I don't just want to be thrown in there and it's like, make something happen, And I think, it's games like No Man's Sky and stuff like that that kind of like realize that, we should probably have like a tad bit of direction. And then, and they get better from there. Like I just need a little bit of guidance. Don't guide me everywhere,
Right.
but just a
No
little bit
Man
of
does a really
guidance.
good job with
Like
the sandbox.
Grounded,
yeah.
I feel like does a good job at
Grounded does too,
kinda
yeah.
It's
getting your feet
They
wet.
give you the
Grounded
small
does.
quests to do.
They do
little
better
things
than
to help
Ark,
you.
but I still think Grounded is not quite enough. But they do better than Ark for sure.
Also,
I think No Man's Sky does a little bit better.
Also, Grounded is gonna get like they're gonna be able to weasel their way into this little crevice because it's just an alpha game or whatever, like
Yeah.
a beta.
Yeah.
I
So
expect Grounded to get much better.
they're saying
yeah.
that it will eventually have a storyline, but they're just trying to get the world and everything like
sure.
that perfected. And I think
Yeah.
once Grounded
But
finally
with
gets all of the aspects in there, it's gonna be a great game.
But yeah.
It's a great game already with the stuff that's
Right.
there. It's just missing that story,
Yeah.
as to why you're here, why you're doing what you're doing.
I think Arc 2, just like Defiance, because there's going to be a show.
Yeah,
So there's going to be Arc.
That's right.
is there?
Yes, there's going to be
But
Arc.
it's a separate story, I think, isn't it?
So
it's a
I
completely
think-
separate story.
I think they're trying
That's
to
not
build
gonna
it.
sell me this time. They won't give me this
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
Right.
But I think now they're trying to maybe build it as more of like a brand, or I think they're writing a story, so they have material, and
They
I
gotta
Yeah.
be doing something to be putting Vin Diesel in the
Yeah,
damn.
yeah.
The damn
So,
It's crazy,
I
man.
think
Is
they-
Ark that successful?
I mean, it has
To
a lot of
afford
players.
that?
I don't know.
it's still
crazy.
going strong on
Still
Xbox,
going strong.
bro.
So
It's still
or on
on
PC
Xbox.
Wow.
is what the main people play it on the PC,
Yeah.
but it there's the pixel light Arc, right? There's a pixel version. There's it's on all platforms.
It's on
essentially.
iOS. I know that.
It's on everything. So obviously they're doing something right, and I think now they're giving that extra polish with with Arc 2. They're making it more recognizable. They're gonna get people to watch the show, maybe download the game.
Yeah, I'm watching the show.
Hey, if it follows in Ark's footsteps to get on Game Pass, then I'll definitely give
Oh,
it an
for sure.
attempt.
For
I'll
sure.
download it
Well,
and try it.
I know. I'm just super confused on what this is because it's
Yeah.
like we're not gonna all be running around as Vin Diesel, or are we? It's like wait a minute, like
There's
what
like
is
1,000
this?
Vin
Yeah,
Diesels.
like is this a single player game? It's bizarre. I don't
What
know
do
what's
you
going
you have
on here.
to work out outside in the forest enough to be able to look like Vin Diesel, and then that's like bloop, like you upgrade to Vin Diesel.
That's a
Like,
tier of class.
Yeah, yeah,
the Vin
yeah.
Diesel class.
It's like an armor. You
Yeah.
put on. It's a
Or you
Vin
could just
Diesel
buy
armor.
Vin Diesel for $10.99.
Ah, yeah. That
or
would be
maybe
it.
you maybe they introduce you to the game through Vin Diesel, and then you become like a tribe member, and now you're in the game. I don't know what they're gonna do.
Or maybe you're like Vin Diesel at the start, right? And then
Right,
you
that's
get
what I'm saying.
killed.
They introduce
you
you
get killed,
into the world
and
as
then
Vin
your
Diesel.
soul is transported into another living being's
Your
body.
soul is
You know what I mean?
transported
You're
out.
resurrected with your
Yeah.
little your little stone.
Maybe that was your
arm.
grandpa. Maybe that was something in your
lineage.
lineage. You know, you're
So,
playing
it
through.
was all flashbacks.
Yeah, you're playing through
Yeah.
like what happened before.
Okay.
You
And then-
actually wake up
Alright.
outside of an Animus and you realize that you were just like, in another Assassin's Creed.
Hey
game.
man, even if they do that, even if they like introduce us how to play the game through like a single player storyline, that would be more accessible to someone like me because I think that's the biggest problem with ARK.
No,
I
what's
don't feel like
confusing?
it's
Oh no,
it's not
confusing,
accessible
for sure,
to
for
someone
sure.
like me. I don't feel
What
like
to
I can have
do,
any access to
dude?
that game.
For sure.
So
For sure.
Yeah, it's like I don't
I
even
know.
know where I've.
I don't
teleported
want to even
to,
try
like-
it. I don't want to even try it. You
Yeah.
know, so
I love you, me.